Bonsoir à tous, so lovely to be here with you tonight, as usual, for our reading of La Belle au Bois dormant, Sleeping Beauty. So if you remember, until yesterday, so we have a king and the queen who had trouble having a baby, and they managed to have a little princess, and at her christening, there were fairies who were invited, but one of them was forgotten. So the angry fairy arrived and she decided to curse the baby so that if she pierced her hand, she would die. But a lovely fairy had thought about that and she moved that into sleeping for 100 years. Yesterday, after the princess hurt her hand, the good fairy came and touched everything with her wand in order to make everybody and everything fall asleep except for the king and the queen. And they protected the castle so that no one could come and be nosy and try to find out what was behind the walls of the castle. So take a pen and paper, and as usual, we are going to go through the fairy tale. I hope to do that tonight because we saw lots of vocabulary so far. So maybe we can do all that, but maybe it will be just that. So let's take some time and go through that together. 1, 2, and 3. Au bout de 100 ans, le fils du roi qui régnait alors et qui était d'une autre famille que la princesse endormie, étant allé à la chasse de ce côté-là, demanda ce que c'était que des tours qu'il voyait au-dessus d'un grand bois fort épais. Chacun lui répondit selon qu'il en avait ouï parler. Les uns disaient que c'était un vieux château où il revenait des esprits, les autres que tous les sorciers de la contrée y faisaient leur sabbat. La plus commune opinion était qu'un ogre y demeurait et que là il emportait tous les enfants qu'il pouvait attraper pour les pouvoir manger à son aise et sans qu'on le pût suivre, ayant seul le pouvoir de se faire un passage au travers du bois. So we are finally 100 years later, and we are seeing who is walking around and what do people think about all that. So we are going to study the first sentence first, and we're going to read it again together. Are you ready? 1, 2, and 3. Au bout de 100 ans, le fils du roi qui régnait alors et qui était d'une autre famille que la princesse endormie, étant allé à la chasse de ce côté-là, demanda ce que c'était que des tours qu'il voyait au-dessus d'un grand bois fort épais. So you heard several liaisons here. Au bout de 100 ans, we have one here, le fils du roi qui régnait alors et qui était d'une autre famille que la princesse endormie, étant allé à la chasse de ce côté-là, demanda ce que c'était que des tours qu'il voyait au-dessus d'un grand bois fort épais. Non, fort épais. Okay. So let's look at each part of the sentence. Au bout de 100 ans is at the end of 100 years. Okay? Au bout de. I think we saw this one before. So it is at the end of, and it can be space or time. It can be at the end of the lane, and it can be at the end of 5 minutes. Au bout de 100 ans. Okay? Le fils du roi. Le fils is the son of. Le fils, the son. La fille, the daughter. Okay? Le fils is the son and la fille is the daughter. Le fils du roi, the son of the king, qui régnait alors. who was reigning then. Okay, régner, I took some notes for you. Okay, so régner is to reign, and we have le règne. It is the reign. Le règne. Le règne. Alors is then. Okay, qui régnait alors? Who was reigning then? Governing or taking care of the country. Here, alors is then. At this time. Et qui était d'une autre famille que la princesse endormie, which is a good thing. And who was from another family, okay? Un autre is another, okay? I'm going to put un autre here. Un autre is another, but here you would need a noun, okay? Noun. Que la princesse endormie, who was from another family than the sleeping princess. La princesse endormie, we saw that yesterday, is the sleeping princess. Étant allé, okay, he had gone, étant allé. So here you have un participe présent. Étant allé à la chasse is hunting. La chasse is the hunt. Chasser is to hunt. La chasse is the hunt and chasser is to hunt. De ce côté-là, on this side. Remember the la that I mentioned before? De ce côté-là, so it's on this exact side. So on this side of what we're going to see after, okay? But not on, here it is not the two sides of a coin, for example. It is an area, okay? Étant allé à la chasse de ce côté-là, on this side. De ce côté-là, and remember this one here and this structure of un tiret and là helps you to just precise that this is the exact side that he went on. It was not in another one, okay? Demanda, asked, ce que c'était que des tours qu'il voyait au-dessus d'un grand bois fort épais. What it was, what they were actually, those towers that you could see at the top, or no, it is above. Au-dessus is above. Au-dessus d'un grand bois, un bois is a wood. Un bois, a wood. Okay? Le bois is wood. Wood forest. Okay? Voilà. Un bois, a wood or a forest. And le bois, wood. Ce que c'était que les tours qu'il voyait, so here it is the verb voir, au-dessus d'un grand bois fort épais. Fort, here it's very. But usually it's strong, okay? Or fat. Un homme fort. Non, on va mettre cet homme est très fort. So here you can say that he is strong or he is fat. But if you put it this way, the first translation that comes to mind by default would be strong. Okay, cet homme est fort. But fort is also a formal, polite way to say really fat. Cet homme est très fort. Fort, épais, and épais is thick. Okay. Thick. For example, ce papier est trop épais pour passer dans l'imprimante. Oh là là. Ce papier est trop épais pour passer dans l'imprimante. This paper is too thick to pass in the printer. So, let's read this sentence again and don't forget to do la liaison, okay? Breathe in, breathe out, and let's read this together. 1, 2, and 3. Ready? Au bout de 100 ans, le fils du roi qui régnait alors et qui était d'une autre famille que la princesse endormie, étant allée à la chasse de ce côté-là, demanda ce que c'était que des tours qu'il voyait au-dessus d'un grand bois fort épais. So what does the prince see? And what is it that he sees? And can someone help him? Let's read this sentence together. 1, 2, 3. Chacun lui répondit selon qu'il en avait ouï parler. This is very old-fashioned French. Les uns disaient que c'était un vieux château où il revenait des esprits, les autres que tous les sorciers de la contrée y faisaient leur sabbat. Let's look at the first sentence first. Chacun lui répondit, so each one answered to the prince, because lui is the prince here. Chacun lui répondit, each answered to the prince, according. Selon is according. Okay. For example, selon toi, combien de temps va durer le confinement? According to you, how long is the confinement going to last? Selon toi, according. Selon toi. Don't mix it with salon. Le salon is the living room. Okay. That would be a funny mistake to make, actually. Selon, according. Even according to. Selon toi, combien de temps va durer le confinement? So, chacun lui répondit selon qu'il en avait ouï parler. This is completely old French, so you can forget about this structure. Okay, alors, let's try to understand what's happening here. Parler is to speak. Okay, we can understand that pretty easily. Parler is to speak. But oui, what's that? It is not yes. Okay, oui is the verb ouïr, and that means entendre. So, qu'il en avait entendu parler. That makes it a little bit more easy. Entendu parler égale to hear. So, each one answered according to what he had heard, actually. Qu'il en avait ouï parler. So, en is about what you're talking about. So, this thing about the very thick wood. Avait ouï parler is had heard, literally had heard say. Okay, so this is very, very formal French from the 17th century. So I'm not going to go very deeper, but again, I wanted to show you how you can actually figure out what a sentence means just by trying to understand the verbs, okay, and this kind of words, because it can be tricky to figure out the conjugation. But let's be honest, we're listening to a fairy tale, so you can very easily understand what this is about. So you can figure this out, and as soon as you know that this is old-fashioned French, you can easily forget about the structure afterwards, okay? Please don't fill your brain with this kind of French, because this is very old-fashioned. It would be fun actually to teach you fake stuff. That would be really fun, but that would not make much sense, and I don't think you would trust me ever again afterwards. So you can forget about this kind of structure. Les uns disaient que c'était un vieux château où il revenait des esprits. Les autres, etc. So, some people were saying and the others, okay? Les uns, les autres is a structure that you can use that is very good. Les uns and les autres. And also you can make them stick together and make it work. For example, pendant une crise, il faut se soutenir les uns les autres. So this is an expression as well. You can put them together and make something. During a crisis, we have to support each other. Les uns les autres is the ones and the others, and literally each other. Okay? But you can separate them. For example, les uns mangent leur goûter pendant que les autres jouent dehors. Some are eating their 4 p.m. snack while others are playing outside. So here you imagine a group that is cut in two. Half of it is eating their snack and half of it is playing outside. And this way you can use les uns les autres yourself. It does not have to be complicated. It just has to be a group that you cut in two and you give them different things to do. Les uns disaient, so ones were saying, can we say that? I'm sure there is a translation. Les uns les autres. Each other or one another. Yeah, so there isn't, I'm going to show this to you. So there isn't a proper translation that would be literal for les uns les autres. So that's why I couldn't find any, and even in word reference either. But I wanted to show you the use, which is always more useful than just learning the vocabulary. So les uns les autres translates into one another, which works very, very well here. But in this kind of sentence, I'm not sure how you could translate that. But again, if you're watching this live, you can check in the chat because lots of people very often have very good answers. Check out for Alison, she often gives very good answers. So, yeah, well done, guys. Les autres, okay, les uns disaient que c'était un château, that it was an old castle, que c'était un vieux château. Un château is a castle, we already saw that. Un vieux is old. And un château is a castle où il revenait des esprits, where spirits were coming back. Okay, où il revenait des esprits. And here again, it is old-fashioned French because we could say où, we could even copy it down actually, où revenaient des esprits. Here you would need the verb to agree with des esprits because it is des esprits that come back. And you could even say où des esprits revenaient. But again, this is not Charles Perrault, so I don't want to change his writing. Où des esprits revenaient. But you see, it is an old-fashioned one. It is where there was spirits coming back. Où il revenait des esprits. Un esprit is a spirit or a ghost. I think here we could say it is more of a ghost. Ghost. Here it is a ghost, but it can be a spirit as well. For example, I'm tired of these examples of crisis. Pendant les Jeux olympiques, les pays développent un esprit de solidarité nationale. It's not great, but that's true. During the Olympic Games, countries develop a spirit of national... How do you say solidarité? That's funny, I don't know that. Solidarité. Solidarity, that was too easy. I don't know if it's the case for you, but sometimes I look for words that I don't have any clue what they are and actually just a change in one or two letters and they are in the foreign language. And this happens a lot. For example, here I thought it would be more complicated. Pendant les Jeux Olympiques, les pays développent un esprit de solidarité nationale. So some were saying that it was an old castle where there were ghosts coming back. Les autres, so the others, que tous les sorciers de la contrée y faisaient leur sabbat. So here we have a difficult word. We have sorcier, we have contrée, and we have sabbat. You might know them. So un sorcier is a male witch. Sorcerer. Un sorcier, une contrée, this is old-fashioned French. It is, I wrote this down because I wanted to make sure. It's a land, but it's old-fashioned. It can mean a country, it can mean a land, a region, but you have this idea, old-fashioned word for an area. Usually kind of a country or a kingdom or something. Ils faisaient leur sabbat, so here, le sabbat, it is the same word, but for witches. So the others thought that all the sorcerers of the land were making their Sabbath there. Okay. Le I is about the castle. The I is about un vieux château. Okay, the castle, the place that they're looking together. So let's read this sentence together. Okay, and I'm going to add the liaison as we go along. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Les uns disaient que c'était. So here we have one. Que c'était un vieux château où il revenait des esprits. Les autres, que tous les sorciers de la contrée y faisaient leur sabbat. So just one liaison in this sentence. Oh no, we have one here. Les autres. This is by far my favorite part. I think about all the parents who have to homeschool their children at the moment they never did it before. I'm sure this is what they would love the ogre to come and do. I'm fine because my son can't walk yet, but if I had to homeschool and then run Comme Française full time, I have no clue how I would do. Even now, it's very exhausting. It's nice. I'm absolutely fine. I'm healthy and all. But it's very tiring. So I think about all the parents who have to homeschool their children on top of work. Well, congratulations to you all. So, la plus commune opinion, était qu'un ogre y demeurait et que là, il emportait tous les enfants qu'il pouvait attraper pour les pouvoir manger à son aise. Ouhou! La plus commune opinion. Here, this is very old-fashioned. We would say l'opinion la plus commune if we want it to be a little bit more modern, but it is a bit difficult here. L'opinion la plus commune, we would say la plus courante. That would be a little bit more modern. L'opinion la plus courante, okay? La plus commune opinion, so the most common opinion, this is very transparent for English, common opinion, était qu'un ogre y demeurait. Was that an ogre? So un ogre is an ogre. Y demeurait. Demeurer is to live there. To live. And how do you translate demeure? I wanted to show this to you. Demeure. Demeure, yeah, is house. I didn't want to give you house as translation. Dwelling, maybe. That might be it. I don't know dwelling. What does the translation say? Okay. I'm going to use dwelling because it sounds good. Sounds right. So you have this idea of living somewhere. And it is a little bit old-fashioned, but here it works. Une demeure is the house, but it has an idea of humble, but still a house. And it is old-fashioned as well, okay? Or you want to be fakely humble. For example, bienvenue dans ma modeste demeure. Welcome to my humble dwelling. It's very weird to say it, but if you want to be cheeky, funny, and actually you know that the people are not expecting you to live in a very expensive house. It has a bit of a sarcastic tone, but it can be really modest. So if you hear this word in a TV series or movies, check it out because it's worth thinking about the words and how we use them. And context is key, and this is something that I really work hard on Comme une Française, is give you the context for the words. Because here, for example, you go to word reference, you check demeure, and demeure is translated into house or home. Well, that's good, but that doesn't really tell you what it is about. So it used to be a dwelling, and it might still be, but we would not use that to say dans ma demeure, on a une salle de bain et 3 pièces. That would not make sense anymore. That would be ridiculous. A very weird sentence. But again, when we are talking to people and they have the same mindset as us, because we have the same culture, we know the same language, we can be a little bit cheeky. And this is something that you can definitely say if you're welcoming people in your house, no matter how big or small it is. If you go to, for example, Kim Kardashian's house, she might welcome you saying that, and it's actually really a joke because she lives in a massive castle. But again, you just want to say it's normal, make yourself at home. Okay, so it's funny. So you can try this out and listen to that in movies. The use of demeure, because home is very personal. All this vocabulary around home is crucial to understand where people come from, and it is key to really understand how they think about themselves as well. So, bienvenue dans ma modeste demeure is welcome to my humble home. And you can use it if you live in a castle. So, the most common opinion was that an ogre was living there, et que là, and that there. So there, here is the forest. Il emportait tous les enfants qu'il pouvait attraper. So he took with him all the children that he could catch. I wanted to stop a little bit on emporter. Emporter is to take away with you. So this works with an ogre who is stealing children, because he picks them and he takes them away with him. Then we have apporter. Apporter is to bring something. And then we have porter. This one is to carry. To carry. And we have remporter, to bring back. And rapporter, which is to return. So actually, the path that is followed by the people using the words is different. So for example, remporter is you're going to a friend's house, you brought too many food, and you're bringing some back with you. Okay, so your reference point is your home, and you brought something outside of your home to your friend's place, and you're bringing something back to your home. Rapporter is to return. This applies, for example, to a broken object that you bought, because the reference point there is the shop, which is outside of your home. So you took it from the shop, brought it back home, and bring it back. So you have rapporter, and this can be subtle, but it makes everything, okay? Emporter is to take away with you, and apporter is to bring. So the movement that you're making is absolutely different. And the dynamics of it are very different as well. Porter is just to carry. Okay. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can think about all the amener as well. Okay. Amener is to bring a person. And what we saw above applies as well. So, emmener is to bring someone, to take away someone with you. Take away someone with you. So, for example, j'ai emmené mon fils chez le dentiste. I brought my son to the dentist. Amener is to bring a person. Mener is to lead, so that's a little bit different. It's not used in the same way. Ramener and ramener is to bring back someone. People. It applies to animals as well. So I know that students struggle with those, so think about the reference point every time. So amener is to bring. So for example, j'ai amené mon fils chez le dentiste. Yeah, you can say emmener as well. Because amener is just to bring until the last point. But emmener is to bring with you. So for example, you can say emmener quelqu'un en voyage. Because you're taking them during all the travel with you. Okay, amener is to bring at a destination. For example, amener mon fils chez le dentiste. The dentist is the point you're going to bring him to. So this is your goal. Emmener is along the way. So for example, j'ai emmené mon chien en voyage en France. So you have all this trip that you're going to take with your dog. Mener is different, it is to lead, so I'm not going to go through that. And ramener is, for example, your friend is drunk, you don't want him to drive, so you bring him back home to his home. So j'ai ramené mon ami chez lui parce qu'il était trop saoul pour conduire. J'ai ramené mon ami chez lui parce qu'il était trop saoul pour conduire. Okay. What does this one say? So, okay. So you see, the intentions are different and the path is different. Il emportait tous les enfants, so he was taking all the children with him that he could catch. Attraper is to catch, pour les pouvoir manger à son aise, in order to eat them at ease. À son aise is comfortably. Okay, pour les pouvoir manger à son aise, but here we would not put the les here, we would put it there. Pour pouvoir les manger à son aise, but because it is French from the 17th century, it is in this order. Et sans qu'on le puisse suivre, again, the le here should be here, sans qu'on puisse le suivre, and sans is without. Sans qu'on puisse le suivre, here the pu is pouvoir, so that we could not follow him. Ayant seul, as he had, here it is le participe présent de avoir. As he had alone, seul is alone. Le pouvoir, the power, de se faire un passage à travers le bois, au travers du bois. So that he could have a passage through the woods. Okay? Through. And le bois is the forest that we saw before. Okay. And here, instead of au travers du bois, I would say à travers le bois. À travers le bois, through the woods. Okay, so we are just a little bit late. So we're going to read the paragraph together. Okay, starts here. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and don't forget la liaison. Au bout de 100 ans, le fils du roi qui régnait alors et qui était d'une autre famille que la princesse endormie, étant allé à la chasse de ce côté-là, demanda ce que c'était que des tours qu'il voyait au-dessus d'un grand bois fort épais. Chacun lui répondit selon qu'il en avait ouï parler. Les uns disaient que c'était un vieux château où il revenait des esprits. And here we have une liaison that I forgot to write. Les autres que tous les sorciers de la contrée y faisaient leur sabbat. La plus commune opinion était qu'un ogre y demeurait et que là il emportait tous les enfants, here we have une liaison, qu'il pouvait attraper pour les pouvoir manger à son aise. We have lots of liaisons here. À son aise. Et sans qu'on pût le suivre, no. Et sans qu'on le pût suivre, this is even difficult for me to say because it goes against my instincts. Ayant seul le pouvoir de se faire un passage au travers du bois. So who is there? Is it an ogre? Is it a witch? I don't think it is because we know it's the princess. I wish you une bonne soirée, une bonne nuit, maybe une bonne journée. If you like this lesson, it would be lovely if you could put a thumb up on the video to tell YouTube that what I do matters. So I will see you tomorrow at 7:15 p.m. And I wish you une bonne journée, une bonne soirée, maybe une bonne nuit, and I will see you tomorrow. À demain!